And you met Matt at UGA.
I did, yeah.
And I'm sure you told the story a million times, so
No, it's okay.
I'm sure it's exhausting getting into it, but was it love at first sight? Like, what was the connection? I mean, what a iconic American story, right?
Yes.
That is, all you need is the golden retriever to mix it in, and you guys are like the perfect American family.
Well, this is funny because this is where the Cleat Chaser tour kind of came up, or where the name came from. But I literally fell for him very quickly.
Right.
And
he is gorgeous.
I mean, he was a little chubby, little cute one.
Yeah.
But he was just witty and fun, and I fell for him very quickly. But it didn't go both ways. He was like, I'm not ready for a relationship. Da, da, da. And I was not the person that. I was a relationship person. So I was like, all right, well then we'll
see what happens.
Later. Turns out later, we ended up finding ourselves again or finding each other. But in the middle of all that was a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth, a lot of love-hate situation. Yeah. So it wasn't as perfect as people wanted to make it. But
any relationship that ends up being worth it is like, there were some points where you're like, I wanted to murder you for the first quarter of our relationship.
Yeah. And I always tell him, like, we had, like, to go through all that, that's what got us to where we are. Because if we didn't, if we tried at the beginning, no chance it would have worked. You know what I mean? So
can I tell you how many guys I dated in college that I thought was my boyfriend, and then I come to find out they never once thought that I was their girlfriend? Like, I used to blame it on them, and now I'm like, no, bitch, it was on you. Like, nobody at any point actually thought that we were dating. So I hear that.
I feel like it's very college.
That's very college. And also imagine the pressure, right? You're a student athlete, but he's also like the quarterback of and also SEC. If people,
I know.
I have worldwide listeners, but people don't understand this like very specific area where we grew up and where we went to school. Like it's another level of pressure.
Yes. And I will say, I was actually telling Kira this, who's from California, my producer, but it is all about college football in the South.
Yeah.
Like, pro is kind of secondary to college. So the pressure of being the Georgia quarterback, I mean, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
And also, when my parents found out that I was going home with him, they immediately called me home and said, we need to talk right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they were not pleased. Well, they just were like, what choices are we making right now?
Did your mom show up to Athens with a megaphone with her like red hair out the Mercedes window, like, Kelly, get in the car. Yeah. Put your pants on.
You know what? I always knew I was in trouble when they were like, we need to meet at Duluth Diner.
Duluth Diner.
Yes.
Iconic diner in the suburbs.
It's like, right? So we would meet, and that was one of the conversations that we had to have.
They were like, this is a bad egg.
Yeah,
or we just feel like, what are you doing?
They wanted to make sure that, I was making good choices in a way of like, they didn't know him.
Right.
They knew him as, and my parents are Georgia fans, so obviously they knew who he was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my sister had the best reaction. She's like, all right, Kelly.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, get your ass home right now.
Did your dad like secretly dab you under the table though? Was he like, all right,
No.
just tell him I've got a couple plays. If he like just slid a folder across the table at the Duluth Diner, he's like, just let him know I think this is better for the offense. It's like, Dad, no.
I mean, I think looking back, he probably wish he did, but no, he didn't do
Yeah.
that. He was like, listen, we had other things to talk about, including my grades too. Freshman year, everything slips. Your grades, your weight, everything just
Your
goes.
underwear, they just fall off. You don't know where they are. They're usually outside of Boar's Head Bar if you're in Athens. But
That's right.
So you were cheerleading, you guys met, and then he gets drafted to the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
And then so you move up to Michigan.
Well, I honestly was like, this is probably over.
Right.
I was like, enjoy, like, and I loved him. But I also knew he was going to play in the NFL, and I was still in college. And that's when he really surprised me and was like, I really want a shot at this thing. And so asked me to move up, had to talk to my dad because my dad was not old Southern man, not a fan of moving before a commitment.
Did he take him to the diner?
Actually, I
love this idea. I want to go to the Duluth Diner tonight for a grilled cheese and just be like, I'm gonna figure out my next business plan here.
I mean, great food. But no, he actually asked Atlanta Athletic Club.
Really?
And he was surrounded by all of my dad's brothers. My dad has like 6 brothers. And he was like, can I talk to you for a second? And they all thought it was proposal. And he was like, no, I really just want Kelly to move up with me.
And so I actually just want the milk. I'm still not buying the cow.
I'm still not a relationship person yet, but maybe I will be after we live together. So there you go. And it took like 5 years.
No way.
Oh yeah. And that's fine. We were young though. I was 19 when I moved. I was baby when I moved up
When
there.
I met my husband, we were together 8 years before we got a proposal, but people didn't realize, like, on day 3, I was like, so this is it? But we were still, like, kids doing the damn thing. And I was like, you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else wants to put an outside pressure and, like, timelines on everything. You're like, guys, I'm good, okay?
It really, and honestly, the pressure got to me before him. And I was like, listen, we got to do something because I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And he always had very level-headed. And he would sit me down and be like, all right, well, let's talk about it. And you're right. We were just like, what does it matter? Like, let's just take our time in this.
Yeah.
And we were still, like, again, so young.